Hey everyone, it's Dorothy with crazyforcrust.com and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make churros. Churros are such a delicious treat. For me, they remind me of Disneyland and I'm really missing them right now. So I'm going to teach you how to make churros at home, and they're healthier because we're not going to fry them. We're going to either bake them or make them in the air fryer. You're not going to want to miss this recipe. Making churros at home is actually really simple. We're gonna start off by making what's called a pâte à choux dough, and it's a pastry dough that's made with eggs and flour and butter and water. This dough gets cooked and then it gets put into a pastry bag where you're gonna pipe your churros. The hardest part for me about making churros is frying them, because I don't love frying foods. It's a lot of oil, it's a lot of grease, there's a lot of leftover, and then it also makes my house smell like a carnival for days. So I prefer making baked churros or making churros in my air fryer. Baked churros or air fryer churros are just as good as the fried ones, but they're healthier for you and they're easier to make. You're not gonna miss the frying. It's super simple. You can have these churros in your belly in just about an hour. For more delicious desserts and easy recipes, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Now let's get in the kitchen. Start by adding 1 cup of water to a large saucepan, followed by 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. Make sure that you cut it up so that it will melt faster. Let the butter melt into the water as it heats, letting it melt together, stirring occasionally until it comes to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, this is really important. Make sure that you turn off the heat to your pan. And if your burner stays hot, I suggest removing your pan from the burner. All right, I'm gonna pop in here before we get to the next step, really quick. So there's one question that I always get about this recipe, and it's that it tastes really eggy. So there's a couple of ways to avoid that. First, once you've melted together your butter and your water, it says to remove it from the heat to add in the flour. So make sure you do that. Remove it from the heat, stir in the flour. That's gonna cool down that water and butter mixture enough that when you add your eggs, it's not gonna like scramble them or cook them. And then the other way to make sure and avoid it is to mix in your eggs quickly. So if you can do it by hand with a wooden spoon, that's what I usually do, but you can also pop this into a mixer and do it that way if you're worried about getting them mixed in fast enough. You just wanna make sure that you don't cook the egg, because that cooked egg is what's gonna give it the eggy taste at the end. You're gonna then stir in your flour and your salt and stir it until it becomes a thick paste. Stir it together until all the flour is incorporated into the water and butter mixture and it becomes a thick paste. At this point, you're gonna add your eggs one at a time, stirring them in between each. You're gonna add a total of 3 eggs. Now make sure that you stir them in quickly so as not to cook the eggs. You can do this with a wooden spoon in your pot, or you can do this in a mixer if you're worried about getting it done quick enough. When you're done, your mixture will be a thick paste consistency. At this point, it's time to prepare your piping bag so you can pipe and bake your churros. I'm using a plastic piping bag that I've fitted with a 1M tip. You could use any star tip. To fill your bag, I like to put it in a large drinking glass, and then I take my batter and put it into the piping bag. It's an easy way to fill it. And then you're just gonna pipe your churros. You can pipe them long or small, you can pipe bites or shapes. I'm gonna do 2 batches here. I'm gonna do one that I'm gonna bake in the oven, so I'm doing it on a Silpat baking mat on a cookie sheet. You can also use parchment paper. It's easiest when you pipe them to use scissors to help them trim off the edge of the piping bag. If you're baking these in the oven, you're gonna bake them at 350 degrees. They're probably gonna take about 30 minutes or so. It just depends on the size. Make sure that you've sprayed them first with nonstick cooking spray so that they will brown appropriately. The other batch I'm doing is for my air fryer. So I'm doing it into my air fryer basket. In an air fryer, you're gonna air fry them at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes or so. Again, depending on size, make sure you spray them with nonstick cooking spray to get them to brown. For the air fryer, you're gonna have to work in batches because they won't all fit in the basket. While they are baking, mix together some sugar and cinnamon to make your cinnamon sugar to coat with. Then, as soon as they come out of the air fryer, you can take them from the air fryer basket and dip them in the cinnamon sugar. Same goes for if they've been baked, take them out of the oven and dip them in cinnamon sugar. You could also dredge them in butter first if you want a really thick cinnamon sugar coating to them. Churros are best served warm, of course. I love them plain with cinnamon and sugar, but you can also make some chocolate ganache dip. That's delicious. And that's it. That's how easy it is to make homemade churros. If you follow my steps, you guys, I promise it will be easy and delicious. If I can do it, you can do it. Make sure to leave me any questions you have in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna go enjoy some churros while you keep watching.